So you've been thinking about making that move to Oklahoma City, and you'd really like a really good viewpoint of what it actually looks like moving here. Well, that's exactly what I'm going to do today. I'm going to give you a little bit of a driving tour so you can see what the landscape really looks like, what neighborhoods look like, and what all the amenities look like. So let's get going. I'm Katie Kuriakos, your local realtor here in the Oklahoma City area, and I help clients relocate to Oklahoma City area every single week. So today, let's get right to it and let's hit the road. So today in our driving tour, we're going to focus on the Edmond and Deer Creek areas in Oklahoma City. Both of these areas are very well sought after suburbs. They sit on the north side of Oklahoma City. They have really good schools. A lot of families are drawn to them. And I know I've talked a little bit in a lot of my videos about the difference and the similarities of Edmond and Deer Creek and what makes them special. So today I'm going to actually drive you around in those areas so you could see firsthand what it really looks like. So right now I'm at the corner of Memorial and Rockwell, which is right off of the Kilpatrick Turnpike. We're technically still in Oklahoma City, but we're heading straight up to Edmond. Edmond is less than a mile away. Now, what I will say is we're going to start here on the west side of Edmond, and we're going to move east a little bit. And we're still overall, all of today is just going to be hitting West Edmond. We're not going to go super far east. But I want to kind of take you to West Edmond and Deer Creek, and then just kind of that middle West Edmond. So coming up Rockwell right now, it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so traffic is really light right now, which is really great. This is probably the busiest area in Deer Creek during rush hour, and that's simply because right next to Rockwell and off of the Turnpike, we have the large Paycom offices. So you hit this area around 4:30, 5 o'clock. You're going to be sitting at a few stoplights here, unfortunately. They're also doing quite a bit of development across the street on Rockwell. They're building a Walmart there. They've recently built some kind of small strip malls, then fast food restaurants and things like that. So that corner right off of the Turnpike on Memorial is extremely busy during rush hour. Now, what you're going to find me talk about is as we go up into Deer Creek further, that's not going to be the case. Traffic is not going to be as big of a deal. What we're going to see is we're going to see a lot more stop signs. So we're coming up to Rockwell in Northwest 150th here. There's a little small strip mall. We actually have Spring Creek Elementary, which is part of Deer Creek. And in this area, what we're going to see is we're going to see quite a few newer construction neighborhoods. So there's going to be some neighborhoods that were, say, built within the past like 10 years or so. Several that are about 10 years old, and then also some that are still being built or just within the past couple of years. So we've seen a lot of that in Deer Creek, a lot of new construction. The past like 15 years, especially the last like 5 to 10, Deer Creek has exploded from what it was. If you talk to anyone that lived in Deer Creek even 25 years ago, it was rural, and now it's just a part of Oklahoma City, and that's just what it is now. So we're coming up Rockwell still right here. As we can see, there's a lot of neighborhoods on both sides. Once we get up a few more intersections here, this is where you're going to see like a drastic change in the landscape. Okay, so we just passed Northwest 164th. We're still on Rockwell. This is really where the landscape changes. So this is where I talk about Deer Creek is a unique area where it's so close to the city. Like we're 20 minutes to downtown right now, but we are in an area where right now on both sides of the road, we still have farmland. Is it a rural area? No. But when we get out this far on this side of town, is you're going to have like a community, and then like tons of open ground, and then like another community and more open ground. So there's a lot of space between all of it, and it's really interesting because it's like it almost feels like, oh, we live in small town, but you don't, because you can drive 10 minutes and be like very city, and Walmart, Target, and everything is right there. So we won't see this when we get a little bit further to the east, but this west part of Edmond, this Deer Creek side, That's what we're seeing a lot of. Now, when I say Deer Creek is exploding, it definitely is. Something to keep in mind is Deer Creek actually has a lot of flood zones too. So there will be some areas of Deer Creek that are probably never going to be developed. They may someday, but it would take a ton of work for that to be done. So just like driving over here, there's kind of an older home and some cows over here. There's some horses off in the distance. So you get a little bit of some variety. It's like living in the city, but also having like these wide open spaces, which is really, really interesting. It's kind of a unique dynamic for sure. And yes, something to know about me is I do drink from a regular coffee cup. I like to live life on the edge, I guess. I drink from a regular coffee cup, no lid, while I'm driving, always. Have not spilled on myself yet, but I'm sure that day will come. Okay, we're gonna actually take a right over here on Covell. Uh, we're gonna head east. So like I said before, we're still kind of in that area where it's like neighborhood, large open space, neighborhood, large open space. What you're not gonna see out here is commercial. There's not a ton of commercial. There's not a ton of shopping and dining and strip malls and all of that, but we're so close to it. I personally live in Deer Creek and love it. And I don't ever feel like, oh, it takes me forever to get to things that I want to do, because it really is just like a 10-15 minute drive and that's it. And so many families do the same. They really don't mind just driving just a tiny bit. And as you could, I don't know if you can tell this on camera, but I haven't hit traffic. I know it's the middle of the day, but traffic is so easy. So coming up on MacArthur and Covell here, this is where Deer Creek High School sit. We just passed a new bond on that. So the high school is going to get a huge revamp in the next few years. Lots of money going towards that, which is much needed. If you've done any research, you probably know that Deer Creek schools are very well sought after and highly ranked in the state. So they are growing, of course, and the high school needs to get bigger with that. So that is in the works, and that bond has been passed as of just a couple weeks ago. So that's really exciting. It looks like we're building a neighborhood right over here. The signs must have just recently gone up that says that there's lots for sale. So that's a very, very recent thing. But I knew that was coming, so I'm glad they're finally advertising that. We are headed east now. I want to take you up here to Highway 74. This will be good to see kind of how people get into the city from Deer Creek, those people that are commuting. And then up here on our right, this is where we're going to have another school at Deer Creek, 5th and 6th grade center. They used to have a 4th and 5th, and just this past year, they moved 4th grade back into the elementaries and now do a 5th and 6th grade center, and then have middle school and then high school. So right up here, we have kind of this roundabout in the road. What you'll see out here in this west side of Edmond and Deer Creek is that we don't have traffic lights. It's all roundabouts or stop signs. And that is just because while there's a lot of people that live out here, the commercial isn't there. So the busyness isn't there yet. It's just, people, but no businesses. So maybe eventually that will come, but for right now, if you are traveling within that Deer Creek area, you're just going to hit quite a few stop signs at all the intersections, that sort of thing. Once we get over to the east side of Highway 74, that's when you're going to hit a lot of stoplights. So now we're coming up on Highway 74. This is a major highway that connects Edmond and Deer Creek to the city. So, especially if you are living on the west side, on the Deer Creek side, and if you commute into the city, you're probably going to take this highway. This shoots all the way down for a city and then actually goes as far north as Guthrie and just keeps going, honestly, past that even. So, Highway 74 has definitely gotten busier over the last several years simply because of the amount of people that are moving out this direction. It does have stoplights on it. I know I say it's a highway, but it does still have stoplights on it. The speed limit is high. I mean, the speed limit's like 60 miles an hour, but we do still have stoplights. I think this is just me speculating, but I think over the next like 5 to 10 years, they're probably going to have to do like overpasses of all the streets that connect with it. But for now, there may occasionally be times you get hit with stoplights, but it's still a very, very easy and accessible highway to take if you're trying to commute every day into the city. This is going to be your direct shot down. If you keep going down Highway 74, you're going to go right past like Lake Hessner, and it'll just keep going all the way. You can loop around to downtown. Wherever you need to go, that's going to be your fastest route to get there. So I actually took a right on Highway 74 and we're heading back south again. So I wanted to go south just for a minute, and then I'm going to head back east and show you some of the neighborhoods that are over in that direction, because it'll show you a good difference between kind of your East Deer Creek and your West Deer Creek. Now, keep in mind, while I'm sitting at this light, I'm going to explain to you a little bit too about Deer Creek versus Edmond. A lot of people relocating to Oklahoma City don't quite understand the difference. And they hear good things about Deer Creek schools, but then they're like, there's no Deer Creek address. Like, how am I supposed to find this? The majority of homes that sit in Deer Creek schools have Edmond addresses. A very small percentage of them also have Oklahoma City addresses. Deer Creek isn't technically a suburb, it's a township, and it's more like a school district more than anything else. Now, we as locals kind of just call it a suburb, even though it doesn't have any addresses, but it really is kind of its own suburb. But when we're thinking about Deer Creek, we just have to be mindful of, we're going to have to look in both Edmond and Oklahoma City addresses. And then if we're looking in Edmond addresses, we're going to have to make sure we're in Deer Creek schools or in Edmond schools. So it can get a little tricky, but that's what I'm here for. So I took a left at Highway 74 and I'm actually heading west. There's quite a few brand new strip malls right over here with like some big national chains shopping and stores and restaurants, things like that. Several locally owned businesses here. And now we're kind of in the heart of I'm going to call it neighborhood city. Right over here is where we have several like very large master plan neighborhoods and kind of the quintessential like suburb life, I guess you could call it. I'm gonna actually take a left right here and just kind of drive through this neighborhood real fast. This is the Grove in Edmond, and the Grove is it's actually a really large neighborhood, but it has homes that are anywhere from probably 10, 12 years old to they're still even building in here. Has a lot of amenities. It's got playgrounds, a pool, a clubhouse, the gym, lots of good stuff there for families, but it's kind of your typical what you'll find in this area of the city as far as what a neighborhood looks like. Most of the homes in here are priced around in the 300s to the 400,000 mark. So there's some good homes in here. Several builders have built in this neighborhood, but this is definitely kind of the vibe that this area of town will give you and what this really looks like. And there's several neighborhoods right around the Grove here that are very, very similar. They were all built around the same time within the past 10-ish years or so, are kind of around that price point. And these do all sit in Deer Creek schools, although we are getting close to Valencia, that neighborhood. Valencia is an interesting one because the line of Deer Creek versus Edmond schools actually runs through Valencia. So when helping clients choose in that neighborhood, it's very important that we find a home that sits in the right school district if they're very passionate about being in one versus the other. So we're going to get out of the Grove here and actually go over to May Avenue and head north. So I want to show you a little bit over there as well. Okay, so I headed east after we got out of the Grove and headed more towards the heart of Edmond, and I'm actually going to head north now. But earlier when I talked about how on the west side we just don't have that commercial, over here this is going to be the heart of commercial, even around the Grove that I showed you. Lots of shopping, lots of dining. We're really close to Quail Springs Mall. There's a Lifetime Fitness over here along with several other gyms. Whatever you need, you can definitely find it over here. This is where commercial really hits hard. Right when you hit that Highway 74 mark that runs north and south, kind of like east side, tons of commercial, and west side, not so much. But like I said, I mean, even if you're way over at Rockball where we started, to get over to Highway 74 is like 5 minutes. So really easy access there. I wouldn't let the lack of commercial scare you unless you're like, I want to be walkable, or I want to be literally 2 or 3 minutes from a store or something like that. So we're heading north right now. I just crossed Northwest 192nd. We are starting to kind of fit out just a little bit with both commercial and residential. We do have some new neighborhoods coming up right here. These are brand new, built within the last 2 or 3 years and still building. But we are definitely kind of hitting what we hit earlier, where things are starting just to thin out just a little bit. I do want to take you a little bit farther north here, because what we're seeing in North Edmond is that the farther north you get, the style of neighborhoods are changing. Okay, so when we are a little bit farther south in Edmond, we're getting a lot of those master plan communities, quite a bit of homes in a community. But as we go north, that's where they've started to kind of change things up. There are quite a few neighborhoods up here where developers are coming in, and the builders and developers together are noticing that a lot of people are wanting more space and they're wanting more land. So they've come in and they've established quite a few neighborhoods. I would say they're a little bit more higher end neighborhoods. You know, you're not going to be able to find them at a super small price point, but they are putting homes on, say, half-acre lots or even a full acre lot. There are some in North Edmond that are 1 to 2 acre lots. Everyone has their own well and septic, but it's still a neighborhood, but with a lot more space to yourself. Your neighbors are not right on top of you. You're getting a little bit of space, but you're also getting a little bit sense of community too. So coming up May, we're already kind of seeing that. We're seeing some little bit larger homes. This is where price points go up a little bit too. You're to see quite a few homes maybe in the 400, 500, 600. As we go even farther north, there's even some communities where you're going to find 700 and 800s too, just because the home sizes are getting bigger, the block sizes are getting bigger. We're up to the intersection of Coffee Creek now. We have Carlito's Way on our left here. Over on our right, if you go down just a little bit farther, there's Addington Farms. I personally love Addington Farms. It's a neighborhood that I really enjoy. It's gated. It started to be built maybe 7 or 8 years ago, maybe just a little bit longer. But as they built more, each phase, it seems like they've increased the lot size too. So now they have homes that are sitting on the 1 to 2 acres. More higher priced homes, obviously. There's lots of 800 and 900,000s in there. But we're starting to see, up here, there's a lot of really big, beautiful homes, which are great. And a lot of these homes now, not all of them, but a lot of them we're seeing a lot of gated communities up here, which if you're buying at a higher price point, sometimes that is kind of expected. There's some neighborhoods up here too that people in Oklahoma love to build shops on their property, things like that. And we're seeing quite a few neighborhoods allow that because they're on larger lot sizes. They just may have some restrictions around what you could do with that. Some of them have none. Have no restrictions at all. Build your shop, do your thing. But a lot of them, especially in the higher end luxury realm, they just have restrictions as far as, they want your shop to look nice, which I appreciate, honestly. Sometimes they'll say, well, it has to kind of match your house or be of the same kind of materials or the same brick, same finishes, that type of thing. And they just want their neighborhood to keep and to look good for a long, long time, which I totally appreciate. So I went north on May and I went all the way up to Waterloo Road. So we're pretty far north Edmond. And I'm actually gonna pop into this neighborhood right here. This neighborhood is called Lair Estates. And Lair is a lot of what I just talked about, where they're all in bigger lots. They allow shops. There's a nice big shop that's like right here when you come into the neighborhood, if you can see that. But all of these homes were built, they're still, I think, building slightly, but they've all been built within the past 5 to 10 years. And really, really nice neighborhood. Each home has its own well, its own septic, and they all sit on rather large lots. We have everything from like ½ acre to even 1.5 acres. It's really kept up very nice, the neighborhood is. And all the houses are looking very nice and clean. Some people have pools up here. Some people have shops. I don't mind the shops. I was talking to someone the other day that said that they didn't think that shops look nice, which I can kind of agree with. But at the same time, we also know that like people that have, say, like boats or RVs or any sort of big equipment, anything like that, I would rather they have a very nice looking shop where they can store all of that and not just leave it on the street or leave it in their driveway. So I hope this has been helpful in giving you a little bit of an idea of what it really looks like as far as traffic and neighborhoods go in the Edmond and Deer Creek area. If you have any questions about this area, drop them in the comments below. I'm happy to help. And I get calls and texts and emails every single day from people just like you wanting to make their move to Oklahoma City and its surrounding suburbs. So if that sounds like you, drop down to the description below where you'll find all of my contact information. Whether it's tomorrow or months from now, maybe you're moving across the country, across the world, or just across town, I'm here to make your move to Oklahoma City as seamless as possible.